Some people demand attention with loud voices and flashy behavior. Sigma females don't need to. Their presence alone shifts the atmosphere. They walk into a room, and without saying a word, people take notice. They don't seek validation, yet they are deeply respected. They don't follow the crowd, yet others often follow them. Their ability to observe, move strategically, and remain unshaken in any situation makes them a mystery, one that both intrigues and unsettles those who try to understand them. Without even realizing it, Sigma females do things that leave a lasting impact. Their quiet confidence, emotional resilience, and unwavering independence challenge the expectations of those around them. Some admire it, some feel intimidated by it, but one thing is certain: a Sigma female is impossible to ignore. Today we're exploring 12 spine-chilling things Sigma females do without realizing it. Habits that make people question themselves, rethink their actions, or feel completely out of their depth. If you've ever been told you're different, too independent, or hard to figure out, this will explain why. Subscribe to the Sigma Sisterhood channel and join a community that values strength, intelligence, and authenticity. 1. They are full of surprises. Most people are easy to read. You can tell when they're friendly or distant, tough or gentle, engaged or detached. But a Sigma female? She is all of these things at once. She shifts between them effortlessly, leaving people unsure of where they stand with her. One moment she's deeply engrossed in conversation, making you feel like the most important person in the world. The next, she withdraws, lost in her own thoughts. This unpredictability is what makes her so intriguing and unsettling. People naturally seek patterns in others' behavior, trying to categorize them into neat little boxes. But a Sigma female refuses to fit into any predefined mold. She is neither entirely distant nor completely warm, neither fully open nor entirely closed off. She engages deeply when she wants to, but never at the cost of her independence. For those around her, this is both exciting and frustrating. Some find themselves drawn to her mystery, eager to decode what she's thinking or feeling. Others find it unnerving. How can someone be so engaged yet so detached at the same time? The answer is simple. She isn't trying to confuse anyone. She just refuses to be simple. Sigma females balance kindness with boundaries, involvement with detachment, and warmth with fierce independence. Their fluid nature makes them unpredictable, keeping people on their toes. While most rely on social norms to navigate relationships, a Sigma female operates on her own internal code, one that few can understand and even fewer can match. 2. They see relationship troubles before they happen. Most people don't recognize a relationship falling apart until it's too late. They overlook the warning signs, dismiss small shifts in behavior, and convince themselves that things will improve. A Sigma female, however, sees the cracks forming before anyone else does. She notices the tiny changes, the hesitations in speech, the shift in tone, the way someone's attention starts drifting elsewhere. While others are caught off guard by sudden betrayals or unexpected breakups, she is never surprised. She doesn't just listen to words, she listens to the silences, the pauses, the things left unsaid. She picks up on energy shifts long before they become obvious. But what makes her truly different is how she handles it. Instead of clinging to false hope, begging for reassurance, or pretending not to notice, she begins to mentally prepare herself. She processes, evaluates, and decides whether the situation is worth fixing or if it's time to walk away. By the time a breakup or betrayal happens, she is already emotionally detached. To outsiders, it may seem like she moves on too easily, but the truth is, she did her grieving long before the final moment. She never clings to something that is already slipping away. This ability unsettles people who expect emotional dependence. They don't understand how she can walk away so calmly, but what they fail to realize is that she made peace with her decision long before they even saw it coming. 3. They don't tell everyone what they're doing, but they're always a few steps ahead. Most people love to talk about their plans, seeking validation, advice, or admiration. They announce their goals before they've even begun working on them. But a Sigma female? She operates in silence. While others are broadcasting their every move, she is already executing hers, without asking for permission, without waiting for approval, and without needing reassurance. This quiet strategy makes her unpredictable. People assume she isn't making moves simply because she isn't talking about them. Then, when they least expect it, she's exactly where she planned to be, while everyone else is still figuring things out. Her ability to think several steps ahead isn't luck. It's an intentional method of observation, calculation, and action. She watches the power dynamics in a room, notices the alliances forming and breaking, and sees patterns others ignore. While most are reacting to life, she is anticipating it. This makes her unsettling to those who underestimate her. People assume she is easy to read because she doesn't boast. They think they can predict her moves because she keeps a low profile. But by the time they realize how much she knows, she has already outmaneuvered them. She doesn't make a scene, doesn't rub her success in anyone's face. She just moves forward, quietly and efficiently. This ability leaves people both fascinated and frustrated. They want to know how she does it, but the truth is they'll never figure it out, because she never gives them the chance. 4. They can turn off their emotions instantly. Most people are ruled by their emotions. They react without thinking, get pulled into unnecessary conflicts, and let guilt, anger, or sadness dictate their decisions. But a Sigma female? She feels deeply, but she controls how she expresses it. She understands that emotions can be a tool for manipulation in the wrong hands, and she refuses to be controlled by them. When necessary, she can switch off her emotions like a light, protecting herself from situations that demand emotional vulnerability. This ability is unsettling to those who expect emotional reactions. They assume that if they push the right buttons, she will crumble. But she doesn't. She doesn't engage in pointless drama, doesn't seek revenge, and doesn't let her emotions be used against her. Instead, she remains calm, unreadable, and completely in control. To outsiders, this emotional discipline might seem cold or detached. They expect anger, tears, or desperation, but they get silence. They expect her to beg, plead, or fight, but instead she walks away with complete certainty. But what they fail to realize is that she isn't emotionless. She's just in charge of her emotions rather than being controlled by them. This ability makes her powerful in ways others can't comprehend. She decides when and how to feel, and she refuses to let anyone take that power away from her. 5. They don't make people feel important, and that's terrifying. Most people want to feel irreplaceable in someone's life. They expect reassurance, emotional dependence, and validation. But a Sigma female? She enjoys company, but she doesn't need it. She values relationships, but she never relies on them for her self-worth. If someone leaves, she doesn't break down. She doesn't beg for their return. She doesn't chase. Instead, she adapts. She moves forward. This realization shocks people. They expect to be missed, to have an emotional grip on her life. But when they see that she continues thriving without them, they are left questioning their significance. People expect their presence to be meaningful, but when a Sigma female doesn't cling to them, they begin to feel disposable. And that terrifies them. She doesn't do this to be cruel. It's not a tactic. It's just her nature. She refuses to tie her happiness to anyone else's presence. And that's what makes her so powerful. 6. They bring out guilt in others, without saying a word. Most people, when wronged, demand apologies, confront betrayal, or seek closure. They express their anger, frustration, or disappointment openly. But a Sigma female? She does none of that. She doesn't beg for an explanation. She doesn't demand that someone take responsibility. She doesn't even bother trying to make them feel guilty. Yet those who have wronged her often end up feeling guiltier than they ever expected. Why? Because her silence is more powerful than any confrontation. Instead of reacting with emotional outbursts, she simply removes herself from the situation. She doesn't scream, cry, or threaten. She just walks away, unaffected. And that leaves the person who hurt her in complete turmoil. Most people anticipate an emotional reaction when they hurt someone. They expect yelling, arguments, or pleas for reconciliation. They are ready to defend themselves, make excuses, or manipulate the situation. But when a Sigma female doesn't give them that opportunity, when she simply vanishes from their life without a fight, it forces them to sit alone with their own guilt. They start replaying everything they did, wondering how much she really knew, overanalyzing every past conversation. And the worst part? She doesn't even care anymore. She has already moved on, leaving them drowning in their own self-inflicted regret. This silent strength makes her one of the most formidable personalities to cross. She doesn't seek revenge. She doesn't need validation. She doesn't even need an apology. The simple fact that she knew what they did and decided they weren't worth her energy is punishment enough. Those who betray her will never get the satisfaction of seeing her struggle. They won't know if she's hurting, if she ever thinks about them, or if she even cared in the first place. That uncertainty haunts them far more than any argument ever could. She teaches people a harsh but important lesson. Once you lose a Sigma female's trust, there is no going back. 7. They challenge authority without even trying. Most people either blindly follow authority or openly rebel against it. They either submit to power or fight against it aggressively. But a Sigma female? She does neither. She doesn't submit, but she also doesn't feel the need to prove anything. She simply exists on her own terms. This calm resistance makes people in power uncomfortable. Whether it's a boss, a teacher, or someone in a leadership role, they expect people to react in predictable ways. They are used to people either trying to impress them or opposing them loudly. But when they come across a Sigma female, they find someone who isn't fazed by their status at all. She listens, but not in a way that suggests admiration. She follows rules, but only if they make sense. She does her work efficiently, but she doesn't seek praise for it. She doesn't challenge authority outright, but she also doesn't bend to it. This puts those in charge in an uneasy position, because power only works when people acknowledge it. Most people in leadership rely on fear, respect, or admiration to maintain control. But when they see that a Sigma female is neither intimidated nor impressed, they start to doubt their own influence. They sense that she respects skill, not titles. She follows her own internal compass rather than seeking approval. This ability makes her a quiet force that disrupts traditional power structures. She doesn't need to raise her voice or demand attention. Her presence alone is enough to shake up the system. Those in charge don't know how to handle someone who won't play their game. She won't flatter them. She won't challenge them outright. She simply refuses to be controlled. Some leaders will respect her for it. They'll see her as a capable, independent thinker who isn't easily manipulated. Others, however, will feel threatened by her lack of submission. They might try to undermine her, question her, or make her life difficult. But it won't work, because she doesn't need external validation, and that makes her untouchable. A Sigma female doesn't need to seek out conflict to disrupt authority. She does it simply by existing as she is, unmoved, unimpressed, and impossible to control. 8. They handle chaos effortlessly. Most people crumble when chaos strikes. They panic, overreact, and desperately seek reassurance from others. Whether it's a personal crisis, a workplace emergency, or a social conflict, most people feel lost when things fall apart. But a Sigma female? She remains calm, collected, and in control. She doesn't let emotions dictate her actions. Instead, she observes, processes, and makes calculated moves. While others are overwhelmed by stress, she is already planning her next step. Her ability to remain unfazed in chaotic situations isn't just impressive. It's unnerving to those around her. People wonder, why isn't she freaking out like the rest of us? The truth is, she understands something most don't. Panic doesn't solve problems. When everyone else is losing their heads, she keeps hers. She assesses the situation logically, finds solutions, and acts with precision. She doesn't waste time on unnecessary drama or emotional reactions. She focuses on what needs to be done and executes it flawlessly. This level-headedness often puts her in positions of influence, even when she doesn't seek leadership. Others naturally gravitate toward her for guidance because she exudes quiet confidence. She doesn't need to command a room. Her ability to stay composed under pressure speaks for itself. However, this also intimidates people. Some mistake her calmness for coldness. They assume she doesn't care because she isn't outwardly emotional. But that couldn't be further from the truth. She cares deeply. She just refuses to let chaos control her. She sees through the distractions, identifies what really matters, and handles things efficiently. And when the storm has passed, she doesn't seek credit or validation. She just moves on, stronger than before. 9. Betrayal feels like being cut off forever. Most people, when betrayed, struggle to let go. They demand explanations, dwell on the past, and hope for closure. Even if they walk away, they still hold on to emotional ties, replaying memories, feeling the sting of betrayal, and wondering what went wrong. A Sigma female? She doesn't waste her time on any of that. The moment someone betrays her trust, they're gone. She doesn't engage in endless debates. She doesn't beg for an apology. She doesn't let the betrayal consume her. Instead, she does something that is far more unsettling. She erases that person from her life completely. One day, they were in her life. The next, they don't exist to her. No warning, no drawn-out goodbye, just complete and total disconnection. And this, more than anything, terrifies people who have wronged her. They expect anger, confrontation, or dramatic exits. But when she simply removes them from her life without a second thought, it leaves them shaken. They realize too late that they weren't as important as they thought. A Sigma female doesn't allow betrayal to take up space in her mind. She doesn't seek revenge because she doesn't need to. The best punishment is indifference. And when the betrayer realizes they've lost her forever, it hits them harder than any argument ever could. They can't apologize, can't explain, can't even get a reaction. They're left with nothing but regret. And that's exactly how she planned it. 10. They understand people like a detective at a crime scene. Most people listen to words. They take what's being said at face value and respond accordingly. A Sigma female. She listens to everything but the words. She observes body language, tone shifts, micro-expressions, every unspoken clue that reveals what a person is really thinking. She notices when someone hesitates before speaking, when their smile is just a little too forced, or when their energy changes in the smallest way. She doesn't just hear what's being said, she interprets everything that isn't being said. People often assume they can fool her with charm, excuses, or well-rehearsed words. They think they can manipulate or mislead her. But what they don't realize is that she already knows the truth. She sees through the lies before they're even spoken. She senses dishonesty without needing proof. She can tell when someone is trying to impress her, when they're holding something back, or when they're secretly uncomfortable. And the scariest part? She never lets on that she knows. She won't confront them immediately. She won't call them out. Instead, she watches, collects information, and waits. And by the time they think they've fooled her, she has already pieced everything together. For honest people, this ability is comforting because they know she sees them for who they truly are. But for those who are deceptive, being around her is unsettling. They know deep down that she has figured them out, and there is nothing they can do about it. 11. They walk through storms with grace and wisdom. Life throws challenges at everyone. Some people complain, some break under pressure, and some let struggles define them. A Sigma female. She walks through every storm like she was built for it. She doesn't panic when things go wrong. She doesn't wallow in self-pity. She doesn't wait for someone to rescue her. She faces every challenge with quiet resilience. She understands that setbacks are part of life. She embraces difficulties as opportunities to grow. While others are consumed by fear and frustration, she moves forward with patience and strategy. Her ability to stay strong when everything is falling apart is both inspiring and intimidating. People wonder how she remains so composed, how she always finds a way through, how she never seems to break. The truth? She has already been through hell before and survived. She has learned that pain is temporary, but growth is permanent. She doesn't allow hardships to define her. She doesn't seek sympathy or dwell on struggles. She just keeps moving forward stronger than ever. And that's why people respect her. Because no matter what life throws at her, she refuses to fall. 12. They inspire change without preaching. Many people try to force change on others. They give long speeches, push their beliefs, and try to convince people to think like them. A Sigma female? She doesn't say a word. She simply lives as an example. She doesn't tell people what to do. She doesn't demand that others change. She just embodies the principles she believes in, and people notice. Her confidence, independence, and resilience naturally draw people in. They see how she carries herself, how she handles challenges, how she remains true to herself, and they want to be like her. She proves that you don't have to be loud to be powerful. You don't have to force people to change. You just have to show them what's possible. And before they even realize it, those around her start to think differently, act differently, and make better choices. Not because she told them to, but because she showed them how. That's what makes her influence so powerful. She changes the world, not with words, but with actions. A Sigma female doesn't seek attention, yet she gets it. She doesn't try to be mysterious, yet people are drawn to her. She doesn't chase influence, yet she leaves an impact wherever she goes. She is self-sufficient, emotionally strong, and impossible to manipulate. And because of that, she often unsettles those who don't understand her. But here's the truth. She doesn't need their understanding. She wasn't made to fit in. She wasn't made to be controlled. She was made to stand out, move in silence, and change the world without asking for permission. So, to every Sigma female out there, keep being you. Keep embracing your strength, your intelligence, and your quiet power. The world may not always understand you, but it will never forget you. Subscribe to the Sigma Sisterhood channel for more insights into the mind of the Sigma female.